we're in Psalms, and we are on Psalm 119, 103 to 112. How sweet are your words to my taste, sweeter than honey to my mouth. I gain understanding from your precepts. Therefore I hate every wrong path. Your word is a lamp to my feet, a light on my path. I have taken an oath and confirmed it, that I will follow your righteous laws. I have suffered much. Preserve my life, Lord, according to your word. Accept, Lord, the willing praise of my mouth and teach me your laws. Though I constantly take my life in my hands, I will not forget your law. The wicked have set a snare for me, but I have not strayed from your precepts. Your statutes are my heritage forever. They are the joy of my heart. My heart is set on keeping your decrees to the very end. Before we dig into that, I want to tell you about a time that I was at Focus. Now, John's mentioned Focus. It's our camping holiday. It's our chance to go away as a church. It's like a festival. It's like a church together weekend, all wrapped into one. It is the best thing I think that we do all year. And last year, I was there in my tent in the middle of the night, and nature called. You may know the feeling if you've been camping before, and you're lying there and you're telling yourself you can hold on till morning. You can wait. You're having an argument with yourself. And you can't hold on till morning, can you? So out I went with wellies over my pajamas and coat on. And one of those puny little pocket torches, the kind that gives you the small little pathetic circle of light about the size of a plate in front of you. And between me and the toilet block was a field full of guy ropes. Guy ropes as I was walking. Those, for anyone that hasn't had the pleasure of camping, those are the ropes that hold the tent up, stopping the tent falling over. And they're pegged into the ground at like exactly shin height. They're completely invisible in the dark, completely invisible. And I'm convinced they're there just to catch you as you go. And so as I walked, I went down. Not once, but twice. And as I was lying there in the wet grass, I wished that I had a better torch. I wished I could see what was there in front of me. All I wanted standing on that field was not this tiny light for the next step. I wanted like floodlights so I could go and make my way across easily. I wanted to be able to see my whole route and plan my whole way to the loo and never fall down again. And I think a lot of us, as we approach the Bible, want that from God. We want that from God as well. That's what we want from him. We want the big picture, the whole plan, lit up in advance before I step into the field of guy ropes, into the snares, into the slightly worrying thing in front of me. Because here's the story that I think we're carrying into the Bible. As we pick it up, I think so many of us carry this story. That if I open this up, it should make everything clear, shouldn't it? If I have faith, if I'm, name your thing, enough through my journey of faith, it should make everything clear straight away. It should be this floodlight for us, shouldn't it? We open it hoping for that verse that settles everything once and for all. We want it to work like the torch that lights the whole field in front of us. We want clarity on every single page that we open, immediately on demand. And when sometimes it doesn't do that, when we read a chapter and we're still not sure what to do with that job in front of us, or that diagnosis that we've been held, or the relationship that we're in, when it doesn't quite immediately answer that question, we might conclude one of two things. Either I'm doing this wrong or it doesn't work. Either I'm doing it wrong or it doesn't work. And so the Bible ends up in one of two places for us. It can become the thing on the self-improvement checklist, like making sure you've drunk enough water or done enough steps, or your meditation app to tick off every day. Something we know we should do but then feel guilty about not doing it. Or it ends up as a really lovely adornment to our bookshelf and stays there looking lovely. And we get a little bit of shame when we look for another book past it. And I don't think that's what God had for us. I don't think that's what he has for us today. Because I believe in here is life. I believe in here is the way. And I believe this can light our way and be a lamp to our path. He wasn't promising us a floodlight. He was promising something smaller. And I think better suited for the way that we actually live our life. So let's have a look in that verse that we read before. Your word is a lamp to my feet, a light on my path. Now, this isn't a floodlight. A lamp in the ancient world would be this little clay bowl or little clay thing full of oil with a little wick. This would make my little battery-operated torch look super powerful. This would just about show you where you're stepping. Just enough light to see the next step on the path. You can't see around the corner. You can't see to the end of the road. You can't see across the field. Just enough light. And the writer isn't writing this from a campsite full of friends with lovely food and lovely music. As you read through, you see it says, I have suffered much. The wicked have set a snare for me. That sounds a bit like a guy rope, but it's probably a bit more dangerous. This is someone whose path is feeling dark. People are setting traps for them. People are against them. If anyone had a case for demanding the floodlight, God, show me how this all turns out, because now I'm scared. It's the writer of this psalm. And what he gets is a lamp to see the next step. And rather than being disappointed with it, look what he does. He says he's taken an oath that this word becomes his heritage, that the word becomes the thing that he holds onto and won't trade for anything else. His heart is set on the word to the very end. Now, if some of you are newer to church or newer to faith, or even just new to the Bible, and you've picked this up once or twice and wondered what on earth to do. Where do you start? Where do you go with it? Let me speak directly to you. Because the truth is, as someone who has been in church for a very long time, to the point where I got to process in robes down Winchester Cathedral last week, it's really hard. And there are some days that it's really tricky to work out what on earth is going on. And that's not a failure on your part, and it's not a failure of the book. The reason it can feel really hard is quite simple, I think. This isn't one book. It's not one book. This is a library of books. It's a small library, 66 books, written by all sorts of different authors. Different people contributed to this all the way through. You had kings, you had poets, you had prophets, you had fishermen, all of whom are writing their stories of faith and their encounters with God. And because it isn't one kind of writing, there isn't just one way of reading it. You'll have the sorts of things that you like to read in normal reading, and you'll have the things that you can't stand reading. And you'll find them all in here. And my thing for you today, and my biggest thing to take away as you're exploring this is, I think there are some key ways that you can read the Bible. And if you put on certain lenses, if you wear certain lenses, I believe that the Bible can come alive for you as you read it. So let me tell you the first lens, and this is the one that I'm discovering most at the moment, and I'm really enjoying it, and it's a historical lens. So I put on my historical lenses, and this is where actual history and learning the history around what's happening at the time changes the stories. Anyone here like really long, boring podcasts? Just me. Yeah, there we go. So I listened to a podcast called Dan Carlin's Hardcore Histories. It's like the most exciting thing for me because it's 4.5 hours written on a very niche historical event. And I love it. I absolutely love it. If you're ever interested in a 6-part series, each of 4.5 hours, on just the start of World War I, this guy is the guy to go to. It's amazing. And I was listening to a podcast the other day on the Persian Empire. And it spoke about the rise of the Assyrians and the Persians across Mesopotamia. There we go, I got the word right. And I realized as I listened to this kind of secular, normal podcast, oh my goodness, this is the world that Daniel in the Bible lived. And you suddenly start to see the story coming alive. You start to learn the reason why he was there and away from home and in exile. And it starts to bring different storylines up for you. You see different perspectives and reasons why things were as they were. And my love for God grew. My love for God and the story and the way I encountered him grew with those lenses on. The backstory, things just made sense. The words on the page were the same, but things just made sense. The second way, and this I think is my favorite way of reading the Bible, and it's to look all the way through and find the storylines that pop up near the beginning and show their face all the way through right until the end. Little threads that run all the way through that you get to be a detective and find the stories that start somewhere in the middle or in the beginning and run all the way through. Stories like a people group of normal people stepping into exile and then back into freedom, and into exile again, and back into freedom and redemption. Or you get to see the line of Jesse, of King David, of Jesus, of a group of ordinary people making some of the worst mistakes you could ever make. Some of these people were terrible. And yet the grace of God and the redemption shown to these people through God, through miracles, or through honorable, wonderful people acting counterculturally, to change the culture and change the course of history through this story again and again and again, weaving all the way through to the birth of Jesus. The third way that I'm really enjoying reading it, and this is some of my, in my Anglicanness and opening up the Anglican prayer book, this is the way that I'm reading that, is to read it like poetry. To find the beauty of the words. Now, there are some books of the Bible, like Psalms, like our reading today, that is like poetry. These were songs that were written, we think, to go with music, to have an accompaniment to it. But even other verses, even letters, are written so beautifully that seeing the beauty of the words helps me to fall in love with God even more. My favorite verse, here's my case in point, in 1 John 3. See what great love the Lord has lavished on us that we can be called children of God. It's just beautiful. It's beautiful wording that I would never say in any other world, but it's just beautiful. And the fourth way, and this might be something that we think is a more charismatic way, but is a historical way of doing it, is through the lens of the Holy Spirit. Is opening up the Bible and saying, God, how are you speaking to me? How are you speaking to me through this today? Through this word, through this sentence, through this verse. And this is actually a very old way of reading the Bible. It's called Lectio Divina. It goes back centuries. It means sacred reading. It's not fast. You won't get through the whole thing. This isn't your Bible step-by-step plan. This is deliberately slow, pausing and pondering on each line, saying, God, where are you here? Where am I? And how are you moving? What are you saying to me with these words? And trust me, as you do this, words will pop up out of the page that you weren't expecting or you've already read 30 times and suddenly means something new for you. The psalm says this: how sweet are your words to my taste, sweeter than honey to my mouth. That's kind of what I'm trying to say today, guys, that there's not much more in my talk other than this. In this book, there is life. This is the floodlight, but it doesn't look like a floodlight. This lights your path, points you in the direction that you are going, but never gives you the full picture all at once. That's the joy that we get to step into it. So I'd love to invite you into a practical thing to try. And I like a practical thing to do. Because I think it can be really hard to get into reading the Bible. It can be really hard to start a new habit, but I promise you it's the best thing that you'll ever do. So why don't you try this? Have a think about something that you do every single day. What do you do every single day? Maybe you have a slot of time in the morning, or maybe you boil a kettle. Maybe it's your commute in. But my challenge to you is to have some verses from the Bible ready to go, or even just your whole Bible at that slot. As you press go on your kettle, that you have 2 minutes to just read something that may bring you life on that day. Something that may speak to you, even if you've read it 100 times, in a completely new way. Pick one. Pick something. Attach 2 minutes and a verse to it. That's the whole plan. It's not like a chapter. There's no pressure to read everything. But just see. It's a lamp, not a floodlight. And that can be enough.